Welcome back to another video and welcome back to Bradford City. Tyreik Wright, he returns to the football club on loan after a brief spell at Plymouth in that 12-month that he didn't really get a good run in the team, didn't really get to mark his style of play on that Plymouth squad, and the Green Army obviously weren't fans of him. They've sent him back to us for the rest of the season and hopefully he can recapture his form and not turn into a Dion Pereira, because last year, this is how big of a signing he is and how big of a player he was. Last year, I think he would have definitely contributed to us going up. We wouldn't have brought in Neves or Costello if he stayed at the club. He was developing into a really good player, getting momentum towards the back end of that December, and we could have signed him permanently. So that were a big miss. And throughout the summer, there were sort of rumours that he could be coming back to us on loan, and that didn't happen. And now, in January, we have got him on loan, but is it a good signing? Did we need to bring him in? And what does it mean in the coming days in the transfer window? Does it mean that we brought in this winger who's a very good player, but is it going to shadow the fact that maybe Jake Young's going, Poynton could be maybe out the door, or Chapman? We'll have to wait and see, but I do think there will be a few outgoings, and there has to be a few outgoings in that area because we have far too many wingers, and we knew that before the window started. It's again in very similar areas. We've started the window with the same amount of players that we currently have now in the winger department. But last season he got 4 goals. I think it was 2 assists. He got by. Let's quickly go through the club statement. Bradford City is delighted to announce the return of Tyreik Wright, who arrives on loan from Plymouth Argyle for the remainder of the season. The pacey winger will spend the rest of the campaign at the University of Bradford Valley Parade. After a fruitful spell on loan for Aston Villa last term, Wright netted 4 goals in 17 appearances for the Bantams before being recalled by Villa, making a permanent switch to home park 12 months ago. On rejoining City, he said, "I'm absolutely buzzing. I know what it's like to be here, and it was a no-brainer for me to come back with all the love I got from the fans last time." And social media probably contributed to that as well, with Plymouth fans giving him a lot of hate, us then sort of having his back, if you like. "I played my best football here, and every game I played with a smile on my face. I feel like I let people down a little bit with the way I left last January, so I'm here to repay everyone. I'm looking to get the double figures in goals between now and the end of the season and help the club climb back up the table." Double figures is big numbers. I mean, you're sort of aiming towards what Jake Young's done at Swindon, which would be absolutely pivotal to us, and it'd be remarkable to say that last season he only got 4 goals in that sort of one of games as well, because he'll only be getting around 17 or so. So that'd be huge if he could do that, but it's a big task. But it's good that a player's coming in and setting that target, because it shows that he's got that determination and ambition that we want to be bringing in those type of characters, but I don't think we do very well at doing that. I definitely have unfinished business here, and I'm looking forward to finish it between now and the end of the season. I'm buzzing to walk out in front of the fans again and hear my name called out. I will try to do my best for them. He's buzzing more than a bee in that statement. Manager Graham Alexander said, "We are delighted to bring Tyreik back to the club. His work rate, pace and goal threat will be very valuable to us, giving us an extra dimension to our attacking options. After speaking with Tyreik, it was clear he was highly motivated to play for us again. I am really looking forward to working with him." Now, my instant sort of thing to it was, brilliant signing, can't wait to see him again. I'm back in the mood to be going back to Bradford City, Valley Parade, and I'm up for Saturday again. Let's have Donny. But then when you actually think about it, last season he did only contribute 6 goal contributions, if I was right, with 2 assists in that spell. Plymouth, he were terrible, and the fans were right against him, saying that the work rate wasn't there, and his quality was really poor, and he lacked confidence. And obviously before City, Salford fans didn't like him and didn't think he was a good player. Colchester, it didn't work out for him there on loan, and he had another loan spell. I think it was Walsall. None of them really lit the world alight. And when we signed Tyreik Wright at the beginning, it was sort of like, well, he's another attacking player. Maybe he'll work out, maybe he won't. He was very similar to your sort of your Odras that we brought in, and your Wilsons, those sort of players. That's what we thought we were getting in. We couldn't wait to get Dion Pereira back, and we saw how that didn't work out after a good sort of 6 months or so in the team. Set the league on fire, and then went off, came back, and didn't do anything, and were really poor, and struggled to get in the team. Does the system suit him? Now, we obviously, before the derby game, we were playing with the 5-3-2, if you like, with the sort of 10 and the 6 and the 8 in the midfield. And I was definitely thinking we need a number 8. Seriously, I don't think that'll happen now. I think Alexander said that, he ain't really looking at that. Patterson comes back end of March and April, and you've got Walker coming back at the end of this week. For me, that's an area we need to improve on. But if we are just going to stick with the two-man midfield and the two wingers, it don't really make sense, because we've got Smallwood, McDonald, Gilead, Walker, Patterson, Osadabi and Dodvar has been playing there anyway. So, when you digest it like that, there's a lot of numbers in there. And just on that, something that's been really poor recently is the set pieces with Walker out the team. And Tyreik Wright's left-footed, of course. Towards the back end of his 6-month spell, he was taking a few more set pieces. I think we scored one. I don't know if it was Argyle, but we definitely scored from one of his set pieces. And he, on international duty, Ireland under whatever it was, scored from a corner from his, and he has a good delivery into a box, and that's another area where I definitely came out of Colchester saying we need to improve our crossing into the box, and we need to get more pacey wingers if we want to be playing this sort of style of play. So I do think he suits Alexander's style, the direct style of play. He gets close to Cook. He's had that link-up play that we saw last season, and he's direct. And I think that's what we do need. But like I said, the concern is what's coming in the next couple of days. Is Jake Young going to leave? Because he hasn't had a sniff, he's had an injury, he ain't really motivated to play for the club, that's why he ain't getting picked. So I won't have too much of a problem if it's the right fee. The problem is it's been rumoured around 200k, which isn't the right fee for me. For a 22-year-old on an 18-month deal who scored 16 goals this season, when you look at fees that other clubs are demanding for very similar goal returns, that's not enough for me. So is he going? But even if he is, you're still looking at Tulloch. I don't know why he hasn't gone that yet, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's a problem at West Brom's end, because, and I don't see why it wouldn't be, because they've got a player who ain't playing who the club want to get rid of. So he's got to go as soon as possible. You're looking at Wilson going out on loan because it's not fair on him and his development. He needs to be playing football. National League teams, I'm sure, will be interested in him, or even bottom end of League 2 teams. He's a good player. I do like him. And then Clark or Dry, I'd look at loaning him out. I don't think Alexander will consider doing that. But you've really got to trim down that area, because if he has another thought of going, right, well, I'll go with Wright and Cook up top, and we'll go with a 5-3-2 again. The wingers isn't really doing it for me. You've got way too many players in that area, so that's something that we need to look at. But what are your thoughts on the 3-4-3? Do you think it is the right solution for City to be going with a winger formation? Because I do like wingers, and I know a lot of City fans do, and that's sort of the way you've got to play with wingers, and we accept it with a 5-3-2 because we're getting results. It is more entertaining naturally when you play with wingers, because they're the most skillful players on the pitch, and certainly we saw that with Tyreik Wright last season and Banks. So who would you go with as your combination? I'm looking at Wright's got to go in Saturday. I don't care, what anybody says, and Alexander says we're picking players on form. You've signed someone, have faith in him and put him straight in the side. As much as I think players need to work their way in the team, I do think that he could go on to be a star player, and that's an area where we could have done better on Saturday. I think you'd probably go Chapman and go with a left footer on the left side, the right foot on the right side, and maybe leave Poynton out and bring him on for those fresh legs, for that bit of passion in the second half. That's what I'd do, but let me know your thoughts on that. But is it lazy recruitment bringing in a player who was here last season? Not a lot of thought process has to go into that. I think I've already said, is it his player because he is Mark Hughes, his signing from last season? Is he fully behind it, or is it just a PR stunt from the club? Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm not saying it is, I'm just speculating. But obviously the Walker signing has to be a recommendation from Doyle. This signing, it's sort of, can we get him back on loan? If not, we'll just see if he's available, and he's available, we'll bring him in. That's what it just seems like with both those signings, quite lazy, not really thought out. Then when you look at all the recruitment signings we've brought in, brought in aging players who don't contribute anything to the football club. We've paid fees for players who you wouldn't pay a fee for if you had your head screwed on. and we brought in a lot of Middlesbrough players, and loads of loan players haven't worked out. So it's all scattergun, and I don't have a problem with that. But is it lazy recruitment, or do you feel like, let's just get behind him, let's get let's get the atmosphere up Saturday, and let's try and get towards that top end of the table. But for me, I'm yet to be won over. A loan sign of Tyreik Wright ain't going to do that for me. There's still areas we need to improve on, and there's still a load of players that we need to get rid of this window before I even consider getting behind a club with any sort of transfer movement or any thing in the football club, because it's rotten to the core. But it has got a bit more interest in the game on Saturday. I'm sure it has for you as well. But hopefully, we can go into that game with the boost of Tyreik Wright. I know against Crawley we hoped to be a big boost for Jake Young, but he wasn't even in the match day squad. I think that'll be different with Wright. But let me know your thoughts on Tyreik Wright returning to Bradford City on loan in the comments down below. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're new. Very close to 250 subscribers. All the support is massively appreciated. Have a good one.